high, when you're totally in despair or hopeless or feeling really confused and you need help, do this. Ask your spirit guides. They are here to listen and answer. They're just waiting for us to ask the question. This is what happened to me. For the past 2 days, I had a really hard shifts at work and I felt really tired and I couldn't sleep properly and I felt totally empty and hopeless and like a failure maybe also. And so as I'm trying to find alternatives, it's not really easy to make a choice, and I've been down this path many times before, and this means that every time I start again, I feel less and less confident about that. I'm afraid of failing. That's normal. So, and so last night, and also throughout the day yesterday, I asked my spirit guides, please help me. I know, I heard that they're there, but they're not interfering with you, okay? Because you need to learn your own lessons. But when you're really in despair and you ask for help, they send help. And so I said, please help me, tell me something. I need a sign, a direction, anything. Send me anything. I need to know. What should I do? Should I leave this job? Should I start something new? Should I follow the thread of thoughts and ideas that I've been having in the past few days? Because I'd really love to do something here in Italy. I'd love to start some retreats. I'd love to have weekends when people gather together in small communities and they help each other and they reconnect to themselves and to nature. And yesterday I watched this video by Dana Stoven when she spoke about talking to trees, talking to nature, listening to nature speaking back to you. And I've been thinking about that for weeks. This is the time to practice the reconnection to nature. And so I was thinking about all these things and the ways I would love to help people. And I was feeling this word coming back and back to me. Guide, the guide. Be a guide. Work as a guide. And I didn't know what they meant. And then last night I went to bed late and really tired. And I said, please send me something now. I need something. And I had these two dreams. In the first dream, it was a very foggy night. But although it was very foggy and everything felt white and thick, I could see many UFOs and spacecrafts in the sky. And I was pointing them out to someone and saying, look what we have if we only stop and watch, look. And then as I was doing that, I realized there were some Yetis in the distance walking. And I was so fascinated and I was showing this to someone. Now, UFOs and spacecrafts might not just mean beings from other galaxies or other dimensions. It can also mean higher consciousness. And hopefully this can mean that I can be a bridge here in this lifetime between us and higher dimensions, and I really love this. And then the second dream. In the second dream there was a round table, and this is I think the third time in a few months that I dreamt about a round table and people sitting around this round table. So there was this big round table, people sitting around it, and it felt important. And a guy who was probably the main character around that table was speaking about a celebration that they were going to have in a couple of days. It was a birthday celebration, but it was more than just a birthday party like we launch here. It was something really big and very important, very celebrative. But at the same time, he was also mourning a loss that he had just recently. I think it was a male friend of his, someone really close. And so he was speaking about this, and I happened to be there, and I shared a couple of words, a very short comment, like a sentence. And this guy said, are you invited to the celebration? And I said, well, no. And he said, now you're invited. And this felt huge to me. I felt really honored and hopeful and like I was part of something big. And then I was still hanging around for some reason later on, and I could overhear the guy speaking about this interaction that we had with the other people around the table, and they asking him, and he saying that I might be the one. Now, I don't want to brag, okay? Me being the one can mean something really small. It could also be that he was thinking about a romantic relationship with me. We don't know, right? So I'm not saying anything really big here, okay? What I'm saying is I was invited at some important table. And this is something that has happened 3 or 4 times in the past few months. and it feels huge to me, and it feels like a confirmation by my guides that I can now step into a bigger role, that it is time for me to believe in myself as a guide, as a bridge, as someone who can really help people, which is what I've always felt called to do, but never had the courage to. Because I've always been really self-conscious, shy, not very confident, like most of us. I spend most of my time feeling like I am an imposter. But I know this is something normal for human beings, so I accept that. And this long video is just to tell you, when you feel in despair, ask your spirit guides for a direction, and they will deliver. Very often this happens through dreams. So do as I always say, keep a journal by your bed and write down whatever happens in your dreams. Have a nice day.